When everyone in the academy suspects you for being the absolute weakest person but just don't realize how powerful you really are is something quite the exciting mystery. That character will face not only underestimation but also a harsher environment than anyone else. At least that's going to be for a while until the truth is out there to where everyone was wrong. Starting this list off with an anime series called Axel World, which was released back in 2012 by Studio Sunrise, featuring a protagonist who is fat, unattractive, and also a gamer addict. He actually managed to reach the highest scoring point in a video game that he was playing, only for him to be outclassed and overtaken by the most popular girl in the school. Basically, Kurokuhime requires his help to uncover the secrets of the program known as Brain Burst, and to do that, she must defeat overall the 6 faction leaders to achieve her goal. Ultimately though, Axel World is a strange, exciting, accelerated and engaging experience. The usage of execution of the virtual world theme is nothing new, but somehow it manages to get its point across to the viewers. The characters' development and seeing how they deal with both reality and virtual reception is so entertaining to watch. Spy Classroom is a brand new anime currently airing in the winter 2023 season by Studio Feel. Think of it as a bunch of cute girls doing cute things, but just replace the cute things with dangerous spy missions and intensive training leading up to a very important, impossible mission to where they almost work together and form a bond so they can, you know, come out victorious. This anime has a lot of main characters and getting to know them can be quite a challenge. Of course, I only recommend this show to people who want to sit down and watch something really quick. But if you're someone who picks up details, this show is probably not really for you. So far though, it's very entertaining to watch as they struggle at points to try their best at working together and problem solve their way through spicy encounters. When I first began watching Tokyo Ravens, I kind of felt though that it was lacking a little bit of originality in both character and story. The originality wasn't so bad, you know, like I've seen it a million times sort of deal, but it was interesting enough to make me want to keep watching the next episode. The characters seem overdone, over the top, opening with the feisty chick friend of the male protagonist picking on him and his cool and calm best friend. Even if it started out quite cliche, I still kept watching it, mostly for the lack of other anime to watch. It was worth it because the show had a lot more depth than meets the eye and gets better as it moves along. For people who enjoy magic fantasy action anime, you'll probably like this one a lot as it has a nice mix of all those genres with interesting plot twists as well. Makin Key is one of those harem series that are either a hit or a miss, and while the first season left me with a smile on my face, I can't really say the same thing for the second season, but regardless, it was overall a fun show to watch. For an ecchi harem show, I didn't find the plot to be lacking really at all. For this type of show, it had enough underlying plot and backstory to make sure it wasn't a stale watch, and let's not forget all the ecchi moments that happen. It could keep you on the edge of your seat craving for more, because trust me, I kinda did the same thing. The protagonist is even weak for starters, but later discovers his true power through awakening his Makin ability, which proves to have so much potential in terms of power. To call Akuma no Riddle a memorable art piece, though, could be both an understatement or an overstatement. But for starters, we have a diverse and colorful cast of characters who transfers into an all-infamous all-girls school known as Myojo Academy. As a show based on settings of survival, the premise tells us of a different setup. Rather than a free-for-all and every killer for themselves, it's all against Haru, the protagonist. Apparently, the victor actually gets themselves a wish, something that I'm sure almost everyone wants if they ever had a chance to make a fantasy into a reality. And, since, the protagonist being the odd one out with the bounty on her head of a lifetime wish as she tries to survive, it's kill or be killed in situations like this, so do expect a lot of action and intense moments from a survival series such as Akuma no Riddle. The Last Summer, developed by ASK Animation Studio in 2022, this is a fairly solid Chinese animation series, but I guess the writers kinda just chopped up some of the successful animes and patched together a storyline into this. But the stylistic changes come very late in the run and are jarring, but overall, solid enough to keep me wanting more. It starts out quite simple to build up to something very exciting. So you got your average protagonist who likes cooking to encountering a hungry girl who is actually a spirit in which she changes his life forever and he becomes a summoner. There's a lot of action, bad guys to stop, and also some romance to be achieved. Though it might not have the best animation, I can gladly say I kinda enjoyed it a lot. Ah, the disastrous life of Saiki K. Where would we be without you? This is truly peak comedy for what it's worth. Quality entertainment and jokes all around in the school life of Saiki K, hiding his overwhelming psychic abilities from everyone and wanting just to live a normal life. The protagonist Saiki K may look average, but he is quiet, observant, but, he kinda doesn't really want to get too much attention for himself by appealing to others that, want to be his friends, even though he prefers distance for a peaceful life. This is made by JC Staff back in 2016. This is a hidden gem in a comedy anime that I can't recommend enough to watch. It's currently 2023, and yet many still have not watched this series, which honestly, you should if you haven't.
92.8 度。は？救急車呼べ！負けんじゃねえぞ！しっかりしろよ！
Just for starters, I really wasn't observed with this series when I started watching it. However, as the first episode progressed and I kept on watching, I slowly found myself getting drawn into the story. It had the same premises as some other fantasy series with the main character getting thrown into an unknown world in order to fight the villain. However, the other elements of the series helped bring the story to life. Being one of the harem genre series, the female characters were actually very diverse in terms of personality and looks. However, unlike other harem series, I actually found myself liking all of the main female cast a lot. Many series have at least, one female lead who I just can't stand, whether it's because of they all are so whiny because they can't get their feelings across or because they're insecure about themselves. But what I really liked a lot more is just Kenshi, the main character. He's so confident and with a bright personality. He started out in the story as a strong protagonist and also ended the story as a strong protagonist. Right up next on the list is When Supernatural Battles Become Commonplace. Now that's the title of the anime, but it's highly misleading. There's actually not really much of supernatural battles in this anime. This anime is your average rom-com harem anime situated in school and the characters all belong in the literature club.
Don't you know what happens when the power of the main character starts out useless?
You, the main character.
It inevitably becomes the strongest of all, just the way it goes.
One day, the members of the club got superpowers. There are superpowers such as, that if it were in an action shonen anime, it would be epically amazing. But as it turns out, you only get to see the powers being used for fun and just in a few episodes. Most of the series is spent in the rom-com lives of the characters as they pass through everyday troubles. Everyone has actually cool powers, but the protagonist has a useless one, yet he doesn't actually know it's overpowered until he finds its potential down the line.
すげえ地形ここって隠れスポットなんじゃね
Now finally, to end this list off, I'm recommending to you all is Spare Me Great Lord. The story might sound like your typical main character is weak and then becomes overpowered, but there's actually a lot of things that made it outstanding overall. This anime is peak comedy as well. Like literally, it's very refreshing to see the main character use his power to tease people and earn social credit income. He uses this income to become a dang businessman, yo. But he isn't really in no way rich actually. In fact, he is very poor. Born as an orphan, he has to work twice as hard to support himself and also to protect his precious little sister. The story is decent for the first 1 to 3 episodes and picks up really quickly. It's action-packed, full of full dive under the sea of comedy and adventure and fantasy. I have no regret watching this, and by far, it is definitely one of the best Chinese animation series I've watched, thanks to Studio Big Firebird Culture.
10. Chain Chronicle. This show is based off the mobile game. With the same title, we seem to get a lot of those these days, don't we? So, nothing can be done anyway. This show starts off from where the game ends in the thick of the final battle between light and darkness, hope and despair, love and, oh, you get what I mean. It's the usual big bad want to end the world cause, and the good guys trying to stop him cause friendship, love, purity, and all that other sentimental candy floss. The character is the one you start with in the game. And in the first episode, the Watchers are thrown into a battle that will decide the fate of the world. And guess what? Spoiler alert, they lost. Miserably too. And the factions and army disbanded with each one cowering behind its borders. It's up to this MC to reignite the flames of hope and beat the Dark King by reuniting everyone under one banner to beat him once and for all. Nine, Medaka Box. She is the student council president elected with 98% of the votes in her favor. She's smart, sexy, seductive, and devoted to helping her school in any way possible. The position of the president isn't something to be trifled with. It comes with lots of responsibilities with it and even more arduous, annoying tasks. It only takes a true badass to be able to keep up with the duties such a position has. 8. Conception. Well, this anime serves as a good intro for the game and its PS4 remake. You can say it was strictly made to market the game with its best-selling point, the girls. The MC job in this anime to impregnate as many girls as he can and send their children to fight monsters in dungeons and save the world. The anime makes a poor adaptation of that idea, but I mean, no one can blame them. The anime only exists to serve as a stepping stone for the games with its unique, colorful, and wide cast of girls. If you're not going to play the game, then this anime will be pointless, and you won't even remotely give it the time of day. Although the cast is nice, it still doesn't cover the openings and weaknesses this anime got. Seven, Mausama Retry. Once the creator of a video game, now the Demon Lord had his own created RPG. But the catch is, even though he's in his Demon Lord sprite that he created, the people he meets and eventually saves are unfamiliar to him in the slightest. Aku, the girl he saves from being killed by a demon, becomes his trustworthy guide in this foreign world that he can barely even recognize. And hey, he's got a kick-ass look with a tall black coat. What could be more badass than that? Oh, and he's too damn overpowered. His presence and pressure on his own is more than enough to cause worlds to crumble. 6. Witchcraft Works. Well, in case you think that your crush would be out of your reach your entire life, then let this anime teach you how a miracle can turn things around for you even in a situation like that. Ayaka Kagari could make anyone forget about blinking for a minute or so, since the girl is as perfect as it gets when it comes to anime. But Honoka doesn't seem to care much, even loathing how others put her up on a pedestal when she's nothing but a human like everyone else. Haha Honoka, how wrong are you going to turn out? With the idol suddenly transforming into the guardian angel that Honoka has had all this while, making the anime do a total flip-flop, leaving all the viewers astonished as to what they just witnessed. But that twist only made the show much more interesting than it already was going down in anime history as one of the most unexpected developments there are. The battle's only getting started. Five, Kekai Sensen. If your search for the boy with those beautiful blue eyes brought nothing to the table, then we're here to educate you about the whereabouts of that very person, since his show just doesn't seem to rise up even after that sequel. Leonardo Watch with his eyes of a god sure sounds like a character with a lot of organizations after those jewels that he views the world through. But with the boy carrying burdens heavier than most other people out there, and in search for answers himself, the quirky characters and the astonishing past of the characters would only make you fall in love with the series even more. Because with villains and stories ready to add that spice to the story, Kekai Sensen is definitely a title that deserves a lot more praise. Four, Camphor. Now imagine this, you sleep one night only to wake up with a wonderful female body. That's more or less what happens to our main character, Natsuro. He's informed that he has become a Camphor, and now his job is to fight the other Camphors in female form. Just like that, he gets to transform into a girl, more beautiful than his own 2D waifu. Even his childhood friend falls for him, now that he can transform into a high school girl. And at his school, there are separate sections for both boys and girls. So he gets to be in the girls section with all the girls as a girl. An interesting plot indeed. Rumors of him dating his childhood friend also start flying around, and they attract a lot of attention. But the question is Natsuru's power a blessing, or perhaps a curse? Three, Claymore. Claire, the weakest Claymore of her generation, is on a mission to destroy the number 2 Claymore, Priscilla, the one that backstabbed her mentor, Teresa, in an unfair attack while she was dropping her guard. The whole series revolves around the final battle Claire is going to have with Priscilla to put her down once and for all and avenge the death of Teresa. She even accepted to become a Claymore willingly, which is an unprecedented act to say the least. The battle won't be an easy one to say the least. Claire has to do all that there is in her power and muster all her strength if she's going to defeat Priscilla once and for all. Two, Akatsuki no Yona. A princess, living all her life in luxury, looking at the world underneath her from her ivory tower, gets struck with the cruel truth of the world she lives in when her father is deceived, slain, and usurped by her cousin. She manages to escape barely alive, and this is when she realizes that life isn't as perfect as she used to think in her kingdom, and witnesses firsthand the injustice, poverty, and deprivation her people have faced over the years. Only then she decided to carry out her revenge and retrieve her rightful throne and defeat her cousin that is leading the kingdom to ruin. One, Moribito, Guardian of the Spirit. This faraway warrior from the land of Kanbal, coincidentally, while on a business trip, saves the son of the emperor from being assassinated. The general belief is that the monster that was sacrificed during the age of the first emperor to stop the drought in the land reincarnated itself in the body of the young prince, which put a bounty on his head. After Balsa rescued him, she was assigned by his mother to take him away from the kingdom and protect him no matter what. On their journey, Balsa and Chegum were attacked by many bounty hunters, and even though she was outnumbered, Balsa's martial arts skills and spear-wielding proficiency proved superior, dispatching opponents with total ease. Even though she got injured in some of those battles, she always rose up again, stronger than ever. The scenery of ancient China is a marvel to behold and is breathtaking to say the least. The animations as well look so good, and the flow of the movements and battles are not half bad either.
Even though many protagonists are overpowered and people recognize their true strength, however, all they wish to just really live is a simple life and a peaceful life, away from battle and just do what they love. But of course, we all know that it's kinda impossible for them to get to that point, as there is always events that trigger.
では 存分に第二の人生を楽しんでくれ。
Starting this list off with an anime series called Farming Life in Another World, which is a brand new series currently airing this season and it's developed by Studio Zero G. It's probably one of the more simple concepts that you could watch, as it's about just a protagonist isekai to another world, and he was granted one wish, any wish that he could ever want, and he chose to live in a peaceful place being a farmer. He plans to build and farm everything from scratch, gradually developing the lifeless area into a thriving new society, as new people join to assist him into building his ideal dream farmland area where everyone can also live. But the question is he overpowered? Well, I guess you can say he has a magic farming hoe that can pretty much do more than just farming. But if you do want to watch a show that requires no thinking and just to relax, then this is exactly what you should check out. Next up on the list we got is Aria the Scarlet Ammo, developed by JC Staff in 2011. This is a series with gunfighting action, taking place in a prestigious academy where students go and learn to become a bute or an armed detective. The protagonist Kinji used to be a high-ranked bute but decided to simply drop out to live a more pleasurable life doing what he likes until his talent was actually recognized by a classmate of his named Aria who wanted him to become her partner. What He Don't Know Aria gives us is a premise about, as generic as it played out, as it, it kinda is full of entertainment filled with good characters and a lot of action. How those two protagonists will work together as a team to get the mission done is quite unique and somewhat special, and I think you guys will actually really enjoy it. Studio PA Works is personally one of my favorite animation studios in the anime industry, most notably for their work on Charlotte, which is probably one of their best anime. An ordinary high schooler named Yu wields a special power, eye power, that actually allows him to take control of someone for a mere few seconds, and he pretty much used his ability to cheat his way through school exams and tests, so he's kinda using it for fun and just getting by. That is until he gets busted by a classmate of his named Tomori, who offered not to expose him if he joined her club, and helping to stop other people with special abilities just like you so they don't abuse their powers. Remember though, this is just the mere beginning of the story, as it will then shift to something more exciting and more tragic, which you don't want to be missing out on. This has probably one of the greatest harem protagonists and also one of the most badass characters in anime history from the series called The Fruit of Grisaya. Kazami Yuji is the protagonist who wishes to leave his past behind and live a normal school life by entering a girls' academy. Disguised as a student, he is in fact a veteran soldier or assassin, if that's what you wish to say. As a kid, he has trained and killed, but now he is living a normal life. Probably it won't be easy that way, as he is about to go through each side story of the female cast, exploring their issues and helping them solve their problems that may involve action, a lot of action happening. This show is at the top of the harem genre, I tell you, and that is why you should all watch it. The story of Kikai Sensen is not very complex. It can be simply described as an organization of superpowered people fighting against disorder in New York, which has now turned into a supernatural zone between the underworld and also the real world. What makes the story so good, however, is the execution. The way it goes about the episode by episode is definitely not textbook Monster of the Week type predictable battles, where they have, to simply find some weakness that was only apparent to the main character.
割れなくても探す
This show has the artistic flair and character writing to shine, and each element of the show embodies the theme of what made New York City an ideal melting point of cultures and ideas from a diverse cast of characters to many different genres of music as well.
もらった
Alderamin on the Sky isn't an overly impressive anime by all means, but it is so enjoyable for what it is. It's a military strategy themed anime which focuses on the cruel reality of war, politics, and how our main character Ikta makes his legendary entrance by displaying his superb talents and as a strategist. This anime was actually quite the surprise where it was presented at first as a typical battle harem anime, but instead it brought us an anime about tactical warfare and two rather very unique main characters. Alderamin is mainly focused on the war between two neighboring empires and the struggles of Ikta and his comrades fighting in the war. Besides the ongoing warfare though between the two countries, there are also tensions within the empire and other battles with various clans.
貴様のちっぽけな命をもって晴らすためだ。
殿下どうか
Bloodlad is created by Studio Brains Base, and this is arguably one of their greatest anime productions that they have adapted, as it features a powerful vampire, the ruler of the eastern district of the underworld named Stas Charlie. But the only problem is that he is extremely lazy.
させるかアングリー
Spending all his time in his room playing video games or watching anime, he just wishes to live a simple, boring life where no problems persists. But that all changes when a girl from the real world gets isekai'd into his domain, completely lost, as she asks him for help to return back home.
紹介しようこれが私の特権魔術ブラッドストーカー
Now the adventure begins where Stas Charlie leaves his house to assist the girl to find her way back home. But of course there will always be some challenges along the way where we are about to see the true power of a vampire lord.
よう元気そうじゃねえか久しぶりだな信玄よ
Mob Psycho 100 is one of my all-time favorite series that recently came to a complete end where the anime actually fully adapted the manga, and it's sad to see a masterpiece go, but of course all good things must come to an end eventually. Mob Psycho 100 tells the story of an ordinary human named Kageyama, but is also known by the name Mob, who wields powerful psychic abilities with destructive capabilities, yet he only uses his powers outside school when it comes to exercising bad spirits on the loose who are terrorizing other people. But of course, with the help of his master Reagan, they together solve the mystery and daily issues of hunting down spirits. But there is a lot more to the story that unfolds greatness down the line, as there is more than just bad spirits out there. Is This a Zombie is an anime that abuses genre cliches. It's horrendously inconsistent, shockingly violent, and has some of the most uncomfortable shots on several occasions. But it is easily one of the funniest anime that I've ever seen. I honestly really couldn't contain my laughter ever since the dynamic and hysterical first episode. But what makes this anime so special is, as I've mentioned, is how it abuses genre cliches such as harem, shonen fantasy, and fan service. Keep in mind though, the anime seemed to kind of flow only over its jokes, but there was no development of any sort whatsoever other than it's purely comedy based, just to get laughs out of this anime, which truly it never really failed to do that. The protagonist also has the power to turn into a zombie, but not just any normal zombie. He's even weak to sunlight and can transform into a magical girl with immense strength. And now, to end things off of this list, I'm recommending to you all is the Classroom of the Elite, which I'm sure many of you have watched or at the very least heard about. Though a series such as this can't possibly be forgotten about since we all know it's getting a third season this year. Classroom of the Elite takes place in a very prestigious school with an unforgivable system where low-scoring students actually get expelled without question, and only the smartest or strongest stay on board. With various challenges and tests that take place, each class must work together in order not to fail. The protagonist among them all is special, Aino Kuji. He's not really your average guy, but a highly intelligent, silent, and observant character who sometimes strikes fear with surprises into the eyes of the enemy. With piano and calligraphy, I'm very sure you can be just like Aino one day if you train hard enough.
お前のデジカメは故障していた。
なんでそれを。
壊したのは俺だ。証拠が残らないよう水を使っ。
10. Seiken no Blacksmith. Cecily Campbell is the leading female protagonist of the Seiken no Blacksmith. She wields the demon sword of wind called Arya. However, it's her love interest and future husband, Luke Ainsworth, who's truly overpowered. While Cecily is weak at the start, Luke starts out completely overpowered. Luke is a master blacksmith. He makes Cecily a sword as well. His strength is shown when Cecily's sword breaks in mid-battle, and he quickly swoops in and lands a killing blow on the assailant. He even completely obliterates an entire group of inhuman monsters by himself and impresses Cecily while doing so. Being a master blacksmith, he's had a ton of time with swords and weaponry. His prowess as a swordsman is untainted, and his strength and speed are through sheer and rigorous training as a warrior. Luke can basically take down anyone in the world of Seiken no Blacksmith, and he does it in style too. Nine. Yusha ni Narinakata Orewa. Who would have thought that you can be late to becoming a hero? After Raul joined the Hero Academy to defeat the Demon Lord, it is revealed that someone already beat him to it and defeated him for good, causing the Academy to disband and the Hero program to be suspended indefinitely. What's the next close thing to becoming a hero? Working in retail, of course. Why would you think of anything else? With a new hire joining them and Raul becoming responsible for her training, things are going hard already. What could make it worse, you might wonder? Nothing special. It's just the fact that this new hired girl is no one else but the daughter of the vanquished Demon Lord, whom Raul dreamed of killing. Just imagine the awkwardness in their first meeting, with Raul being, "Oh, hi, my name is Raul. I was trying to become a hero to kill your father. Nice to meet you." 8. Campeon. Campeon is not a title you want to have or flaunt so casually, since in this world, this title spells God Killer. After the MC killed the God of War, he gained that title, and just like that, he's now on every other god's naughty list. One problem though, this title also attracts the attention of beautiful and hot girls as well. Clearly, this show is a harem. I mean, already the premise is screaming harem. However, it's still got lots of battles and fights that are exciting and fun to watch. 7. Mushi Bugyo. Killing bugs was never more fun than this, though they might be giant in size and some people might be disgusted by it, but still squashing a bug got a charm to it, and it's cool to watch. In the Edo era, the population suffered from a lot of giant pest issues. That's why a magistrate is created to battle those monstrous bugs and defeat them. Each one of them has his own unique style and power. There's the samurai, the ninja, the summoner, and many more, each stronger than the first. And with those flashy skills they display, you're guaranteed one fun series to watch. Six. Shumatsu Nani Shitimasu Ka. In a broken world that has lost all hope of a normal life, the survivors of an unforgiving war live in sky cities away from the Earth to protect themselves from the monsters dwelling there. The same monsters that brought humanity into extinction and to the brink of destruction. The warriors in those war? Young children called leprechauns. Remember when I said that this war is unforgiving? Well, that's not even half of it. The character in this show is a leprechaun herself with vastly more powerful abilities and experience in battles. These leprechauns are born from the hopes and dreams of children wishing to live in a greater world and have a better life sent into war like some kind of weapon with no personality or individuality. The show itself is a very nice concept, and the characters are fun. This show will make you smile, cry, and tear up. It's an emotional roller coaster that I will gladly ride again. 5. Twin Star Exorcists. This time, Shonen went with the overpowered MC with Hidden Pass Troop for this series. In this anime, there are monsters that prey on the innocent with no one able to stop them other than those that can break the barrier between our world and Megano the Beast's world. This MC is just like any Shonen protag believes in power and friendship and will do anything to protect the people he holds dear and close to his heart. He's powerful, and he puts his words to action as well by demonstrating his power and defeating a demonic beast that even the strongest, supposedly exorcist, wasn't able to defeat in dispatch. Oh, and did I mention that these two are supposed to be the parents of the new world savior? Four. Vanitas no Carte. Vampire action, blood and gore, scintillating animation, and a deeply rich plot. This 2021 anime is really good. The Legend of Vanitas, Vampire of the Blue Moon, is one that strikes fear into the hearts of vampires. His cursed grimoire is now in the hands of a human doctor who calls himself Vanitas, much to the surprise of Noe Archivist. This Vanitas and Noe begin to explore the dark world of vampires full of many mysteries. A raging illness surfaces that can only be cured when the doctor uses the grimoire to recover the vampire's true name. Politics abound in this historical vampire shonen, and the witty dialogue and comedic back and forth between the main characters is sure to leave a smile on your face. Three. Nurahyun no Mego. Rikuo, the poor soul, has a lot of responsibilities and positions he has to fill as Nura clan descendant. He's 3/4 human and 1/4 yukai, making his life a lot more complicated than it needs to be, juggling him between trying to fit in with humans during the day and ordering around an army of yokai at night. He's quite the capable swordsman as well. With challenges lying in wait in every corner, the poor guy won't have a breather. Two. Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic. If you're a chibi pervert who likes to do nothing but eat every watermelon in the back of the truck while styling that little body of yours as if it's the Musclemania competition, it's no wonder that people would want to play catchball using you. But guys with any color other than black or brown have their own set of unique skills up their sleeve, no? Whether it's Aladdin showing us just what kids are capable of, or Alibaba making full use of the djinn that he comes to own, not that deep into the show, Magi the Labyrinth of Magic is the perfect example of a show that catches everyone by surprise. Since let's be true here, no one was expecting the boy to turn out the way he did. Since surprising fans is one thing, but totally astonishing them, changing their perception of reality isn't something that comes close to being a surprise or anything. See, as magic, adventure, and action gets real in a series where the pervertedness of the kid just doesn't go away. One. Dororo. Even after being discarded as garbage after a demonic ritual that took his organs, a baby, Hyakimaru, kept on struggling and pushing as hard as he could to survive and live. Rescued and raised years later, Hyakimaru embarks on a journey to hunt down and kill the demons that took his life from him, retrieving his lost organs in the process. Clawing through his enemies one by one opens a path that leads him all the way to the source, and where it all began. And in that same shrine, he encounters his father that betrayed him years ago and ruined his life for him.
In anime, strength comes in all shapes and sizes, and what better than an overpowered high school boy delivering some well-deserved ass whooping? Number 10, Platinum End. Platinum End follows a tragic tale of a young kid named Mirai Kakehashi who has lost all reason to continue living. Ever since an explosion killed his family, his life has been miserable, and his adoptive family constantly mistreats him. He eventually reaches the edge of his capacity to withstand the agony, progressively eroding his will to live.
幸せに
To end all the suffering and tribulations, he attempts to take his own life, but instead of succumbing to death, a guardian angel intervenes and saves him. Nase, the guardian angel, grants him special powers and informs Mirai that he and 12 other people with angels will fight in a battle to determine who will become the next god. Now, Mirai is all set to do whatever it takes to safeguard his forlorn shot at happiness. Number 9. Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury. This tale takes place in the year 122 at Stella, humans having colonized planets in outer space. Our particular protagonist is Mercury Suletta, who upon orders from her mother, has to leave her home planet and transfer to the Astakasa School of Technology. This institute is all about ranks, where battles determine every conflict, and the one who remains at the top shall receive Miorine Rembrandt hand in marriage.
あれで逃亡果汁の魔法
水星女この前の決闘は無効だ今度こそ決着をつけてやる
スレッタさん
Following a series of events, Suletta is forced to engage in a duel with Ghoul Jatart, Miorine's current fiancé, emerging the victor thanks to her Gundam Ariel made from the forbidden gun technology. Using such a weapon, Suletta, despite her victory, is confined. Finally, Miorine steps in, refusing to accept this unfair treatment and suggests another battle, one with ultimate stakes. Now it's up to Suletta to prove herself once more, for she and her Gundam depend on it. Number 8. Noblesse.
納得のいく説明をしてもらおうか
Caddis Eltama D. Rizel, also known as Rai, enrolls in Yiron High School to stay hidden from the sights of the Union, a mysterious organization out for Rai. He begins his life as a student, making himself familiar with his classmates in daily activities. However, this new life of his is soon disturbed when he's forced to save a friend from the hands of the Union, who ended up getting abducted.
開くことを許した体があれはまさかお前には動くことも許可していない
Meanwhile, in 21, a former Union agent joins Yiron's security staff after the director's proposal. But even though he seems like a proper and prime employee on the surface, M21 is shackled by his former ties with the Union and will have to face the inevitable consequences. Furthermore, Reyes K. Londegre and Sarah J. Loyard enroll in the same school to investigate Rai. Things will definitely get tricky as Rai tries to protect all that is dear to him.
もっと俺と遊ぼうぜ
Number 7. Vermeil in Gold.
じゃあジン
Inside the prestigious Ostriga Magic Academy, Alto Goldfield remains a brilliant student in every aspect of the curriculum except summoning. Unfortunate for him, if he fails to summon a familiar and partner with it, the young lad is going to repeat his grade.
我が血を欲せば汝の名は我のものに我が血は
Stressed, Alto musters up the courage to try summoning one last time. In his endeavor to the library, he comes across an unfamiliar book, something that may help his lack in summoning. Using the book, the desperate lad makes a magic circle, casting the spell. This results in the release of a female devil, Vermeil, one with 2 horns and a fiery nature. All in all, Alto manages to pass the exam, but what in God's grace has he summoned?
そんな彼女素敵だとそう思った
Number 6. Kanagi. When he was out catching bugs as a child, Jin Mikuriya fatefully encountered a deity, which became the inspiration for a new piece of art, the tree spirit. As he tries to bring the wooden statue to school, Jin fantasizes about admiring his work for the rest of the day. But before he can even lift it, the statue begins to absorb the earth around it and transforms into a cute girl.
大鉄なんていうかな、ちょっと分かった気がする。木の中に見えるものを掘り出すってこういう。
The girl, Nagi, introduces herself as a guardian of the earth and proclaims that Jin must help her in her endeavor of getting rid of the impurities that plague the land. However, due to Nagi's tree being cut down and her powers completely drained, she's only left with a measly magical wand to cleanse the impurities with. With their lives now intertwined, Jin and Nagi find ways to learn more about each other as they spend their days together.
そしてついに完成。名付けて木の精霊像。
Number 5, Campione.
古い第一母神だった。
Gods of the world are not just myths. They exist, fighting humans and laying waste to land and life. These fights are perceived as inexplicable natural disasters that cannot be escaped.
良きかな。ここで雌雄を決しようぞ。
16-year-old high school student Goto Kusanagi travels to Italy to return a certain tablet to an acquaintance for safekeeping. That is when he gets drawn into a battle between two heretic gods alongside Erica Blondelli, who's a self-proclaimed witch fighting to protect the people. He manages to defeat the god of war and becomes to be known as a Campione, whose duty is to fight the heretic gods and protect humanity. Goto's new status makes him popular overnight, and gods from all around come to challenge him, and a band of devout followers, mostly women, forms. How will he tackle dueling deities in a conflict between heaven and earth? Number 4, Jujutsu Kaisen. Casually indulging in paranormal activities in the occult club, high schooler Yuji Itadori spends his time either in the club room or the hospital where he visits his sick grandfather. However, these laid-back days of his soon come to an end when he encounters a cursed item, triggering a chain of supernatural occurrences. He suddenly finds himself surrounded by curses, monsters formed from human malice.
警察に距離を詰めない。そこは評価します。早い。先ほどの勝負。
That is when he ends up swallowing the said cursed item, which is revealed to be a finger belonging to the king of curses, Sukuna Ryomen. After experiencing the threat these curses pose and discovering his newfound powers, he's introduced to the Tokyo Metropolitan Jujutsu Technical High School, where he begins a fresh journey to learn more about curses and become a Jujutsu sorcerer. Number 3, Misfit of Demon Academy.
加減しても死ぬか。これでは俺の負けになってしまうな。仕方のない。インガル。
A war between humans and demons in the past brought about widespread chaos and bloodshed. So, to put an end to this tragedy, the Demon King Anos Voldigold willingly sacrificed his life, as he hoped to be reborn in a more peaceful future. After getting reincarnated 2 millennia later, he's surprised to learn that the level of magic in the world has greatly deteriorated during his absence. Furthermore, when he enrolls in the Demon King Academy to reclaim his title, he discovers that the demon kind remember him differently, with his personality and deeds completely falsified. This lack of common knowledge sees him become the misfit of the academy. But despite these setbacks, Anos remains stern as he sets out to uncover those responsible for altering his glorious past and to officially mark his return as the demonkind's undisputed ruler. Number 2, The World God Only Knows.
ケイマくんずっと私といて私を勇気つけて私を見てて私にはもうケイマくんだけなの
Keima Katsuragi, known online as the legendary god of conquest who can conquer any girl's heart in a dating sim. He opted for the two-dimensional world instead of real life because he's an unhealthy obsessed otaku who knows no other way to live.
昨日の暴言人間図書館の本はみんなの公共物だよなのに落書きするなんてなんという人なの
When he accepts an anonymous offer to prove his supremacy at a dating sim, Keima is misled into aiding a Lucia Elsie de Luta Ima, a demon from hell with her mission of retrieving runaway evil spirits who've escaped hell and scattered themselves around the world. Keima finds out that the only way to capture is dealing with three-dimensional girls, which he hates the most out of anything. Shackled to Elsie via a deadly collar, Keima now has the title of God of Conquest, and is forced to navigate through the hearts of three-dimensional girls. Will he be able to hold out? Number 1, Mob Psycho 100.
俺が手をつかされたあんなガキに
Middle schooler Shigeo Kageyama, Mob, has discovered his inner wellspring of psychic prowess at a young age, but this power of his soon starts to feel like a liability as he realizes its potential dangers. Choosing to suppress his abilities, Mob only uses these powers to impress his longtime crush, Tsubomi.
いい天気だねあそういえば昨日テレビでね何
今日も可愛いなつぼみちゃん
In order to learn more about his skills, Mob enlists himself under Arataka Reagan, a con artist claiming to have psychic powers, who ends up exploiting Mob for pocket change. Exorcising evil spirits has now become the new norm of Mob's daily life. However, he barely uses much of his power on these operations. If his vast potential and unchecked emotions are allowed to run berserk, a disastrous event will take place. The progression towards Mob going insane is just a matter of time, but what will really happen after he reaches that spot?
僕たちにひどいことをした大人のお兄さん言っとくけどお前のせいだからな
It's always never endless if we want to discuss anime, because anime is always evolving and bringing up new series in every season. However, the anime variety with the Isekai background has reached a high level of enthusiasm for anime lovers. If Isekai anime genre like action, romantic or overpowered genres is too mainstream, I suggest you can start watching anime with Magic School. Spare me, Great Lord. One of the Chinese anime that deserves to be watched, because it has a light, but not boring storyline, and the animation that is very pleasing to the eyes. I will guarantee you 100% if you feel this anime was so bad. This is the story of an orphan, Lushu. He is not any regular orphan, but a metahuman experiencing the changes in himself, his country, and the world during the dawn of the magical era. He is abandoned by his parents at a young age, only retaining a walnut-shaped pendant from them. When he gets into a car accident, his pendant manages to save him, while bestowing the distress point system in the process, activated his and awakened. Traveling under the employment of the Heavenly Network, although at first it was underestimated in entering the lowest rank, F level. In the end Lushu managed to control his unique magical power, which is to use the emotions of the people around him to get the points he used in magical roulette. On his journey Lusuhu was able to increase the power of the legendary items he got in magical roulette, even his strength and skill was above the average of his classmate. In the adventure of Heavenly Network, Lushu learns more about the world and himself. Along the way, they'll encounter supernatural events, obstacles, and will do anything for his loved ones to make happiness together, off-coursely with his sister Luciayu. Lu Shu make the best of his abilities and oust his never-ending list of rivals and opponents when he unlocked one by one his hidden power, where the main character being overpowered like a god. The Fruit of Evolution. Main story started when a man claiming to be a god suddenly hacks a certain school's intercoms, ordering all of its students to team up and prepare to be transported to another world. In this fantasy world where the existence of heroes is very rare and urgently needed to save the world from various threats. The initial transfer is a success. After that they will be given special skills in the hopes that they become that world's heroes and defeat the demon king that ravages the land. Seichi got constant bullying due to his somewhat undesirable appearance, is left behind as no one is willing to be his teammate. As a result, Seikai separated from his friends and moved to an extreme place inhabited by high-level monsters. Although it was difficult, but something happened to Seichi. Because he had eaten Fruit of Evolution, then suddenly Seichi's physical and magic abilities turned very overpowered. Seichi's combat and magic was overpowered and increased multiplied many times than his classmates who had been transferred to safety area. At the beginning of the journey, Seichi was also accompanied by a gorilla, who evolved into a human. Recap story: they went to the city and registered themselves as members of the Adventurers Guild. Since then Seichi got a new partner. He will always be there to accompany his adventures. Wise man's grandchild. Merlin Wolford was once regarded as a national hero, hailed for both his power and achievements. Preferring a quiet life, however, he secludes himself deep in the rural woods, dedicating his time to raising an orphan that he saved. This orphan is Shin, a normal salaryman in modern-day Japan, who was reincarnated into Merlin's world while still retaining his past memories. As the years pass, Shin displays unparalleled talent in both magic casting and martial arts, much to Merlin's constant amazement. On his 15th birthday, however, it becomes apparent that Shin only developed his combat skills and nothing else, leaving him with blatant social awkwardness, a lack of common sense, and a middling sense of responsibility. As a result, Shin enrolls in the kingdom's magic academy to hone his skills and mature among other teenagers. However, living a normal life is impossible, as he is established as a local celebrity almost as soon as he arrives. Becomes an interesting story when Shin grows up at the Magic Academy, makes a new friends, learns about the world and fights off the various forces of evil surrounding him and his city. High school prodigies have it easy even in another world. Even Japanese high school students enjoy international renown for their remarkable talents. One day, these friends survive a plane crash only to find themselves in the medieval fantasy world of Freyjagard, where two human races live side by side in a feudal society: the Bayuma, who have animal features and formidable strength, and the Hyuma, who have a small chance of magical aptitude. After being rescued by the Bayuma Winona and her adopted elven daughter Lirul, the group pledges to use their advanced skills and knowledge to pay back the people of Elm Village for their hospitality and find a way to return back home. Tsukasa Mikagami, the Prime Minister of Japan, acts as the leader of these young geniuses and organizes their efforts to intervene in Freyjagard and gather the information and resources necessary for achieving their goals. Believing that there is a connection between their current situation and an ancient legend about 7 heroes from another world who defeated an evil dragon, Tsukasa directs the others to learn about the culture around them and search for any clues leading them back to Earth. But he also gives another instruction: to take it nice and easy, lest they ruin this world by giving it their all. Quanji Fa Shi. This Chinese anime series is getting more viewers and attention during the coronavirus pandemic, after blow up in Season 4, 2020, which was then extended to Season 5, 2021. The aloof high schooler Mo-Fun has found himself in a universe similar yet distinctly different from his own mundane one. It's a place where magic has replaced the essence of science. Here, the most capable students are taught to master the wonders of spellworking to fend off large devastating beasts that lurk in the forests surrounding the city. Like his previous life, Mo-Fun remains the son of a poor laborer and the older stepbrother to a crippled sister. Despite these disadvantages, he dreams of attending a magic school to become a magician, a highly respected and lucrative trade, in order to repay his father for his hard work. Nonetheless, Mofun manages to harness not only the powerful fire element, but also the rare lightning element. Even so, Mofun didn't want to stand out with his friends, just as a secret weapon also when facing a strong enemy. Isekai Cheat Magician. Regular high schooler Taichi Nishimura and his childhood friend, Rin Azuma, are on their way to school one ordinary morning. Suddenly, a glowing light envelopes them, transporting them to a fantasy world full of magical creatures. Upon their arrival, Taichi and Rin are threatened by a beast. They are promptly saved by a group of adventurers, who advise the pair that traveling unarmed and inexperienced makes them vulnerable to the recently increasing monster attacks. Taichi and Rin are directed to the guild, where they can determine their magical aptitude and register as adventurers. However, the test they take reveals an unprecedented result. Taichi and Rin possess extraordinary powers that far surpass the standard mage, instantly transforming them from typical high school students to the ultimate cheat magicians. Taichi and Rin learn to grasp the full extent of their powers and familiarize themselves with their new world. However, while the duo seeks to uncover the reason behind their transportation and a possible way back to their original world, unexpected trouble lurks in the shadows. Knights and Magic tells the story of a genius programmer who reincarnated into another world after he died in an accident. In the fantasy world, there is an academy that teaches students to become knights. The knight who controlled combat with mecha weapons by using magical energy. Since being reborn, Ernesto Echeverria had a weak body compared to his comrades. But in his previous life he was obsessed with robots in film. So he was inspired to become a knight who fights to defeat monsters by powerful mecha called silhouette knights. In order to become someone who can be relied on in the fantasy world, a little Ernesto struggles and try hard to active in studying. In the fantasy world, he still has a strong memory of programming, and that helps a lot to learn magic. On the basis of magic in the world, it is not much different from the programming language knowledge possessed in the previous world. So in 3 years he was immediately accepted into the Royal Lihala Magic School Academy. Unlike the other students, he wanted to quickly become a knight. The main problem is the height that is still not adequate, even though in terms of ability, he is worthy of being a good pilot for silhouette knights. With his genius brain, Ernesto plans to adjust the size of his magic weapon. Starting with modifying magic equipment and creating his own magic style. Ernesto teams up with the twins named Adeltrud and Arkid Alter with the goal to create his own silhouette knight, a feat unheard of for several centuries. Magical warfare. The world as we know it is actually just half the story. Takeshi Nanase finds out abruptly one summer morning. On his way to kendo practice, Takeshi comes across an unconscious girl in a uniform he doesn't recognize. Takeshi does the decent thing and saves her, and in return the girl wakes up and accidentally turns him into a magic user. As Takeshi finds out, there is the world he lives in and the world of magic users. Most magic users just want to peacefully coexist with non-magicians, but there are some with bigger ambitions. Mui Aiba is a magician enrolled in the Subaru Magic Academy, where magic users can learn to control and channel their powers, and how to live in peace with regular humans. All three friends have different reasons for fighting on, whether they're fighting to escape the past or catch up to the future. They wield different kinds of powers, which they must learn to harness in order to fight off the Ghost Trailers, a group of magicians who are willing to use violence to assert their superiority over humans. Pursued by the Ghost Trailers, Takeshi and his friends must train to become stronger, face the leader of the Trailers, and prevent the beginning of the Second Great Magic War. The strongest sage with the weakest crest. Anime genre's action-adventure and fantasy telling story about the reincarnation of a magic user who has run out of expansion to improve his abilities, because he is blocked by a mark that has been there since he was born. Even though he could use the most powerful magic, he still felt it wasn't enough. The only way to get more power is to come back to life by reincarnation. Besides wanting to be strong, he also intends to find a formidable friend so that he can practice magic by involving more people. Then after the reincarnation magic was activated, he woke up as a noble child named Matthias Hildesheimer. The reincarnation that was done, it's just that it might take a long time to remember all the memories from the previous life. The mark always following him to use infinite amount of magic like fire, thunder, and manipulation everything around him. He can also be skillful in various kinds of close combat with sword magic as well as other highest magic level. His past abilities and experiences also become the foundation for his team to use the best strategy, so that the quality of his fighting partners also improves as well. The greatest lord is reborn as a typical nobody. The most powerful entity of all time, the demon lord Varvatos, thinks life is a big fat snore. But he was lonely after losing all his friends. When he takes matters into his own hands and decides to reincarnate, he calibrates his magical strength to be perfectly average. When starting a new life after being reincarnated, Little Ard has a major problem in interacting with people around him. He had having hard finding his new friends in that world. Irina was the first friend he got, after Ard saved Irene from the tragedy of goblins' attacks. A few years later, Ard decided to enter the Lawville National Academy of Magic with Irina. He realized that everyone in the modern world would be weak as hell, which means he is totally overpowered once again. Ard and his new friend at that magic school are trying their best so that the value of magic in the world can be raised to degree that he had intended in his past. Unfortunately, his memory is still intact and he doesn't realize how much he has lost during that time. This also seems to be at the expense of his normal life. But Ard has a one-track mind, and he won't stop at anything to achieve his ultimate goal.